How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Swanee Plays Games. My name is Swanee, and I'm joined by my friend Cookie. And for today's Helldivers 2 update video, we got an unexpected patch update that came with a few controversial changes, so we're going to be going over that and breaking that down for you guys and giving you our thoughts. So Cookie, why don't you read us off the patch notes?
This is patch 1.000.302. It says a democratic day to you, Helldivers and citizens. Today we bring you yet another patch addressing various freedom-hampering issues. Talks about weapon and enemy balancing, crash fixes, DOT damage fix, misaligned scopes fix, social menu issues, and also general fixes and improvements. And then there is balancing. There's only one weapon under this, and it is the R36 Eruptor. It has an increased explosion damage by 40 and remove the shrapnel from the explosion. Says this is to avoid cases in which players would randomly one-shot themselves or their teammates in a huge radius around the explosion.
Alright, so this is already pretty controversial. If you head over to the subreddit, this is just one of the major talking points in the community. A lot of people are pretty upset with this change. I mean, there's just tons of posts talking about how they just completely massacred this weapon. I tested it out myself. I tried it against the Terminids and the Automatons, and it just feels like it just feels off. The shrapnel being removed just completely nerfed the crap out of this weapon. I don't know what they were going for here, but whatever it was, it's worded as if it's a buff, but it is not a buff. But the good news is that Twinbeard has already responded to this. Somebody asked, have the on-duty CMs noticed how divisive the shrapnel removal is? I'm hoping the team can take another look and reevaluate the importance of the shrapnel. And Twinbeard responded saying, we already are. There are 2 or 3 things we noticed aren't working as intended. Even if we check them beforehand, that's one of them. So he's already acknowledged that, yes, I mean, people aren't happy with the Eruptor. It's not going to work as intended, but apparently they've already noticed this and they're working on a fix. So for the time being, the Eruptor has been nerfed into oblivion. It's not nearly as good as what it was before today's update, but hopefully, I don't know, within the next week or so, they have some sort of patch or hotfix to make this weapon usable again.
Yeah, so that's great news, because otherwise this is just nerfing another good weapon, which is going to obviously always piss people off, but frankly would piss me off a little bit because I'm kind of tired of them taking all the new guns, making them good, and then nerfing the crap out of them, which they've kind of done with the new Warbond and everything. So hopefully, when all this gets fixed, the Eruptor will still be usable. Yeah, I guess we can't get too hard on them for nerfing something at the moment, since it sounds like they didn't mean to. It was like an accidental nerf.
Yeah, one of the major reoccurring comments I keep seeing is people aren't excited for the new Warbonds anymore because they keep nerfing the weapons that are in the current Warbond. It's like, hey, here's the new Warbond. We get to enjoy the weapons for like a week, and then they start nerfing the crap out of them to make room for the new weapons. So it's like, why even purchase a new Warbond if weapons are going to get nerfed? And I kind of understand that reasoning.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, they say they did this because they would randomly one-shot themselves and their teammates. I didn't really have that problem with the Eruptor, so I don't really think this was really worth fixing in the first place. And I actually thought they did a pretty good job of nerfing it in the last update, because it was too powerful and now it's a little less powerful, but also still very good, still very usable. So I actually thought they did a good job with the Eruptor in the last patch. So kind of odd that they are continuing to tweak it when I didn't think it needed to be.
It was a little bit more balanced, but now today's update combined with the previous update, it's just you burn through your ammo because it takes more shots to kill enemies now. So this combined with the last update where they nerfed the overall ammo count, it takes just 2 or 3 shots to kill enemies that would normally take 1 shot. So you're just constantly looking for ammo. So as of today, I would avoid the Eruptor if you like using the Eruptor, because it's just not in a good spot, and I would just put it on the shelf until they get some sort of new fix out. So hopefully this whole situation with the Eruptor gets fixed soon, and it'll be, buffed and will actually be usable again. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, I hope so, because we're going to need everything we can get, because this game focuses very much so, or at least the developers do, on being extremely difficult, being very, very hard. Well, actually, in that vein, let's go to the next thing in the patch notes, because that's enemies. The enemies are getting another buff. Increase the Shrieker sight and hearing range slightly, and also increase the gunship hearing range slightly, which basically just means that gunships and shriekers will have longer range of how far they can get from their nests and or factories and kill you. So if you thought that shriekers and gunships would show up pretty far away from their nests, well, now they're going to show up even further away from their nests. So that's a pretty significant buff. I mean, it says slightly, but I mean, I've seen slightly in these patch notes 100 times, and it's been way more than slightly, so maybe it is only slightly, but more than likely this is probably going to be a pretty pretty major buff for Shriekers and for Gunships.
Yeah, I think this is probably has something to do with the fact that anytime people see a Shrieker nest, they try to take it out from a distance with like their quasar cannons or their, whatever. And sometimes you never even get to see the Shriekers because you can just take out their nests from so far away. I think this is kind of how they're going to try to counter that, to try to make the Shriekers seem like a bigger threat. I mean, you could never blow up the gunship factories anyway from a distance, so the gunships are just going to be way worse. So I think that's going to make them top priority. Like anytime you see a gunship, you're going to want to go blow up that factory ASAP, or you're just going to get wrecked the entire match.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised they didn't, because I think you're right. I think that's why this thing is in there, is because people shoot the Shrieker nest from far away. But there's a lot of other ways they could have fixed that. They could have made it so you, like the quasar cannon and guns like it, don't have that kind of range. Could have made it that the Shrieker nests don't blow up from that kind of stuff, like the factories. So I'm not really sure why they did it this way. I think this is much more likely to make the game worse than the other two would have been. So I understand them trying to fix it. I just think, again, they could have done this a different way, but that's what they decided to do. Next up on the patch notes is gameplay fixes. They say they fixed the issues with the way damage over time effects were being applied. This should fix issues where only the network session owner could apply them, and other cases where they would be applied inconsistently. Firing the Punisher plasma while wearing a shield backpack no longer damages the Helldiver. Fix issues with some weapon scopes not being aligned in first-person view. The sound when stimming no longer plays while being interrupted. Major orders with the kill task now track score correctly. Previously it counted the entire squad's kills once for each player, meaning it would multiply the score by the number of the people on the mission. This is now amended. Helldivers can no longer land on tall rocks in the Horde Defend missions. Helldivers can no longer land on top of bug pillars in Deactivate Terminid control system missions. And the fix for the reinforced stratagem not being present if a Helldiver leaves the session before readying up and then hot joining the active session.
Yeah, so these are pretty interesting changes as well. The first one, the damage over time one, is a big deal because a lot of people didn't realize this. And what happened was including you. The host, they got all the damage over time. So like flamethrowers and grenades and like the gas strike, it would do regular damage. But anyone that wasn't the host didn't get the full damage over time. So for example, if I'm hosting and you were in my game, your flamethrower wouldn't do the most damage that it could. So now hopefully this is fixed, and now if we like have a full squad of people with flamethrowers, it's going to make fire damage just wreck everything. So this is kind of like a buff in a way. It's, I don't know, we'll have to test it out.
Could potentially be a huge buff for teams of 4. About 3 times the fire damage. Could be a huge buff in that way.
The Punisher plasma thing, that's a good fix to see. But now I want to talk about the weapon scope bug. Now this has been going on for a while, where if you aim in first person with some of the weapons, the bullets don't line up with your crosshairs of your scope. And I've pointed this out in a couple of my testing videos, and I've seen comments where people are like, your aim sucks. It's like, no.
Get good, bro.
Get good. You just suck with the weapon. It's like, no, I'm putting the crosshair on the enemy and I'm pulling the trigger, but the bullets aren't going there like where I'm aiming. And somebody already tested this out over on Reddit, and they gave a perfect example. So this is fixed a little bit, but it's still not quite fixed, because as you can see in this person's post, the shots still aren't lining up in first person. So I don't know why this is taking so long to fix, but if you like to aim in first person, some of your weapons still aren't going to line up accurately, so that kind of sucks.
Yeah, I do think the sound when stimming no longer plays is nice. I know it's a small change, but that is so annoying. If you can hear the stim going off and you don't get the health, that's definitely important. Small things help a lot. But the Helldivers no longer being able to land on tall rocks or on top of bug pillars, I get annoyed for a specific reason with this one. I agree that this probably shouldn't be in the game. It's an exploit. It is, people can use that to be way more powerful than they should be. What annoys me about this is, why are they focusing on everything that gives the Helldivers an advantage and not fixing almost any of the things that give the enemies advantages? I don't know why that is done in the order it's done, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, if there's glitches that help the bugs, those glitches seem to stay a lot longer than the glitches that help the Helldivers. I'm confused by the order of fixes that they do. They're like, we got to make sure that first we make the game extremely hard, and then we fix the exploits that the bugs are doing, which is weird to say it that way, but it is kind of true. The bugs and the robots have their own exploits.
Oh yeah, if the bugs could get on top of the mountains, which they kind of do.
Which they can.
I feel like that they're still going to be able to do that. Like if a Bile Titan could climb on the mountain and shoot its acid from up above, I guarantee that would get fixed last. I don't really like this change because, like, on those defend missions, I would always get on top of the hill and I would just shoot down at the enemies, and that was kind of fun. And I could still die. I mean, the enemies do, like, kind of despawn and then will respawn up underneath of you if you're facing the Terminids. So, like, it is possible to die, but it was a little exploitative. It's just, you know, it sucks to see that because I like to do that. It was fun. So
I mean, I get the fix. I wouldn't be as bothered by this if they would. The stupid charger animation power slide it does that kills me constantly. Like, I want that fixed first, then you can fix the Helldivers exploits and stuff like that. So that I find personally kind of annoying.
But the thing I want fixed the most is the animation bugs. Like, you tell your guy to reload and he does the animation, and then you go to shoot, there's no magazine because I guess the animation got canceled or whatever. That happens to me all the time. Same with calling in stratagems. I'll type in the full code and then I think that it's in my hand and it's not in my hand. Or if I'll go to pull out a grenade and then I think I switched back to my primary weapon, but then I'll still have the grenade in my hand. I want that kind of stuff fixed.
The next thing went through crashes, bunch of different crash fixes. I won't read all of them, but always good to have as many crash fixes as possible to get rid of that kind of stuff. They also added a bunch of social menu fixes. I'm not going to read through all these either, but I'll put them on the screen. Mostly UI changes, but some of this stuff is a little bit more important. And then under the other category, it says total purchase counter on the right side of the Robotics Workshop section no longer displays 7 out of 8 despite all stratagems being purchased, and they resolved some edge cases related to Steam App ID related errors on login. It's a small change, but I do appreciate that because my OCD brain does not like seeing 7 out of 8 on the Robotics Workshop when I own all of them. I'm happy with that change. And then as always, there are the known issues, which I'll put on the screen. And of course, there will be a link to the full patch notes in the description if you want to read them all for yourself.
All right, so that does it for the patch notes. Now, on a different note, I want to bring up the review scores. The reviews have been going up even more since yesterday. Now, the total for all reviews is back up to mostly positive. So there's been enough people go back and change the review scores to positively affect the overall review scores now. So that's nice to see.
Yeah, it's good to see that starting to take a turn towards the positive again. Although I think a lot of people are restricting their reviews from making them better because they are not still completely satisfied with what happened with the Sony thing, because a lot of people in those regions with the PSN still can't buy the game because it's still not available on Steam, which has been a major point of contention in the Reddit, on the Discord, and in other places. So much so that it actually prompted one of the community managers on Discord, Twinbeard, to make an announcement about it. So it's a lot to read. I won't read the whole thing out for you, although I'll put it on screen so you can read it for yourself. But to summarize it, it basically says that they are not able to take in this many questions on this subject, mostly because they do not have any information, as in Arrowhead Studios has no information on that situation. That is purely a Sony and Steam issue, and they really can't do anything about it. So they would like people to stop asking them about it, because it's just keeping it from them helping people about things that they actually can help people about. And as soon as there is information to give, they'll readily let the entire community know. He also mentions how they're about to hit 1 million users in the Discord, which is pretty crazy on a on a benchmark point of view.
Yeah, that's very impressive.
Yeah, that's a ton for a Discord, so that's also kind of cool. They're tired of getting hounded about this because it has nothing to do with Arrowhead.
Yeah, which, I mean, I understand a lot of people are frustrated, but they don't really know where to voice their concerns, though. I mean, it's pretty hard to get a hold of Sony. What are you going to do? Like, contact their support and just say, hey, I can't buy the game? They're just going to say, tough luck, sorry. Just wait
They're
around.
Not going to say that.
No, probably not.
That would be a positive if you got somebody from Sony to tell you that. Yeah, they're not going to get anywhere there. I don't know how difficult it is to get in touch with Steam support or anything like that, but it's almost like Arrowhead's being punished for being readily available, that they're being hounded about things that they literally cannot help with. So,
but regardless, I would imagine it's probably going to get fixed sometime soon, though.
I mean, there's money being lost every day they're not fixing this. So I'm not a business guy, but I would think they're losing a lot of money by not having this available. So I'm sure Sony and Steam are just trying to work it out between the two of them.
Well, that does it for everything in today's video, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this patch. Do you like the Eruptor change? Do you not care about the Eruptor change? Just any and all comments, they are welcome down in the comment section down below. If you're new here, then please consider hitting the subscribe button and hitting the bell for notifications. That way you don't miss out on any future Helldivers 2 videos. And if you enjoyed today's video, then consider giving it a thumbs up, because it helps us out in the algorithm, it helps us grow as a channel, and it's greatly appreciated. And that is going to do it for us. We will talk to you guys next time, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.